Hey everybody. So by now you've probably heard about Robert F. Kennedy's recent comments about autism at his recent press conference. And so I'd like to share with you a letter that I've written to the governor of my state that expresses my thoughts and feelings about those comments. The letter reads like this. Dear Governor Ivey, my name is Tristan and I'm a resident of Pell City, Alabama and have been for almost 5 years now. I'm writing to you now as one of your tax-paying constituents to communicate to you my thoughts on an issue which I believe to be deserving of your attention, an issue the extremity of my concern for which I hope will be made apparent in the preceding words. Recently, the newly appointed Secretary for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., held a televised press conference in which he proceeded to spout off a load of inaccuracies, falsehoods, and outright lies about autism spectrum disorder. Madam Governor, I was diagnosed with autism when I was 14, and I was blessed to represent the entire autistic population of the state of Alabama as a member of the Alabama Interagency Autism Coordination Council under former Governor Bob Riley, service for which in 2010 I received an award. I believe these qualifications will allow me to address with authority the claims which were among the more outrageous and egregiously offensive ideas posited at the aforementioned press conference by Mr. Kennedy. And by the way, this is the reward that I received right here. Ain't it pretty? I got this in 2010 in Montgomery, Alabama. Anyway, back to the letter. Namely, number one, that we as autistic people will never pay taxes. Madam Governor, those of us on the spectrum with low support needs, which account for a majority of the people on the autism spectrum, pay taxes every single time that we purchase a good product or service or attempt to engage in any sort of social activity outside of the home. We pay taxes every time that we buy groceries, a meal, or engage gas, or engage in any other taxable activity. Number two, that autistic people will never go on a date, write a poem, or play baseball. Madam Governor, I can assure you that as an autistic person, I've done all three of those things and more, and I'm not the only one. Number three, that autistic people will never hold a job, and that many autistic people will never use the toilet unassisted. Governor, I've been toilet trained since I was a little boy. I am but one of many autistic people who are completely capable of using the toilet by themselves. While it is a sad fact that most autistic people are underemployed, the simple reason for this is the plain unwillingness of employers, generally speaking, to hire people with an autism diagnosis to begin with, as well as the refusal in many cases of employers to provide the few autistic employees that they do hire on with any sort of reasonable accommodations to aid them in the performance of their jobs beyond those which are absolutely required by law. And finally, number four, that autism destroys families and robs America of her children. These may be the most damnable lies that were spewed forth from his lips during that press conference. It is not the case by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever that autism robs America of her children. It is rather the case that societal intolerance robs autistic children of their humanity and value. And nowhere is this societal intolerance made more manifestly obvious than in parents stubbornly clinging to pseudoscientific conspiracy theories in order to distance themselves from a discomforting aspect of their child's core being, while being encouraged to do so by the ignorance and lies being spread by people in positions of power. I will close this section of this letter by saying that a political official spreading the idea that autism destroys families is both irresponsible and unforgivable, for it is tantamount to saying that autistic people destroy families. The only thing that destroys families, Governor, is a weak familial foundation lacking in Christian virtue. Governor, make no mistake, Mr. Kennedy's upcoming studies will bear nothing of consequence, but they will instead, I believe, only serve to expand the power of the federal government at the expense of the taxpayers, and most alarmingly, at the expense of the progress toward understanding, acceptance, and equality, which I and other autistic people in Alabama and elsewhere have for so long fought so hard for. The lessons of history speak to those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear, warning us not to tread down the dark roads of the past. Indeed, Mr. Kennedy's careless, ignorant, dehumanizing rhetoric has already put us back down one of those roads. And if the course is not reversed quickly, I fear that we may arrive at a much, much worse destination. That's why I'm writing to you, Governor, to ask you to stand with the autistic citizens of Alabama and do whatever is in your power so that the great state of Alabama can protect her autistic citizens from this modern-day eugenics crusade. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter. Very respectfully yours, an autistic, tax-paying Alabamian, Tristan. I hope that this has encouraged you and inspired you to write to your presidents, wherever you are, your senators, your congressmen, your representatives, your premiers, again, wherever you are. I hope that this has encouraged you to write to them and implore them to take a stand with the autistic people in their communities. Thank you very much.